Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Proverbs, the 28th chapter. The wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. And why is that? Because that's that guilty conscience of the wicked, upon them. So even when nobody's pursuing them, right, they still have the tendency to look over their shoulder. But the righteous are as bold as a lion, because they have, the spirit of righteousness, which comes from the Lord, to be bold, right? For the transgression of a land, many are the princes thereof. But a man of understanding and knowledge, the state thereof shall be prolonged. It says here, while there is moral rot within a nation, its government topples easily, but wise and knowledgeable leaders bring stability. A poor man that oppresseth the poor is like a sweeping rain which leaveth no food. Which is interesting, right? A poor man oppressing the poor. Isn't that a sight to see? It says here, a poor man who oppresses the poor is like a pounding rain that destroys the crops. Yeah, it's it's not healthy, right? It's not what's the word I'm even looking for here? Right? It says like rain that's pounding the crops, and a poor man oppressing another or oppressing the poor is basically not beneficial. There you go. That's the word. See, it's like rain that destroys crops. They that forsake the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law contend with them. Right, because those that forsake the law, they're going to be on the side of the wicked. Right? The wicked are the ones who forsake the law. So they're of like the same birds that flock together, right? Was that birds of a feather flock together? But such as keep the law contend with them. They contend with the wicked. Evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord Yahweh understand all things. And that word judgment, let's see how they have it here. I believe it goes into, justice, right? Evil people don't understand justice, but those who follow the Lord understand completely. See, as it says, they understand all things. Why? Because the wisdom of the Lord gives them the ability to understand all things and judge arighly. Better is the hope that walketh in his uprightness, or slakia, better is the poor that walketh in his uprightness than he that is perverse in his ways, though he be rich. See, so because people think that, riches are everything, but no, because what's going to be the end of that rich man? Destruction. Because he is walking in his perverseness, that riches have made him perverse. But the poor in his uprightness, the Lord is going to raise up and bless. Whoso keepeth the law is a wise son, and he that is a companion of righteous men shameth his father. Because what's that righteousness going to bring? Shame. It's going to bring shame upon your house. It's like today, having a reputation amongst, those that are like gremlins, right? They're out there causing trouble. If you come, say you end up on the news, what kind of reputation you think that's going to bring to your household? Isn't that the son of such and such? But whoso keepeth the law is a wise son. They obey the instructions of their parents, and they bring glory to their house. He that by usury and unjust gain increaseth his substance, he shall gather it for him that will pity the poor. He that will pity the poor is a just man, right? Is a righteous. In other words, what it's saying, the gain that's gotten, right, by the wicked, that's gotten or increased in substance through usury or unjust means, is really going to be preserved for the righteous. So the wicked are gathering it, but they're not really going to benefit from it. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination. See, because the Lord is, if you turn away your ear from hearing the law, you're going astray. right? That means you're living a life of wickedness. And if you're doing that, then your prayers to the Lord are an abomination to him. The scriptures say that the prayer of the righteous is a delight to the Lord. Whoso causeth the righteous to go astray in an evil way, he shall fall himself into his own pit, but the upright shall have good things in possession. Those who lead good people along an evil path will fall into their own trap, but the honest will inherit good things. The rich man is wise in his own conceit, but the poor that hath understanding searcheth him out. It says rich people may think they are wise, that's being wise in their own conceit, but a poor person with discernment can see right through them. And that's why, wisdom, understanding, it's valued more than riches, because it gives as it says, the poor man that can do this, that's discernment. When righteous men do rejoice, there is great glory. But when the wicked rise, a man is hidden. Right? It says, when the godly succeed, everyone is glad. When the wicked take charge, people go into hiding. And there's another precept that says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. That's why they go into hiding, because they know that the reign of the wicked is not going to be beneficial for them. He that covereth his sins shall not prosper, but whoso confesseth and forsaketh them shall have mercy. So when you cover your sin, you try to justify it rather than confessing and repenting and leaving off from it, right? You're not going to prosper, but the one that does repent sincerely of heart will find mercy from the Lord. Happy is the man that feareth always, but he that hardeneth his heart shall fall into mischief. If you fear the Lord, right, happy are you, because you're going to stay within the bounds of correction, right, and the righteous path the Lord has set. But if you harden your heart, be hard-hearted, and not accept reproof, correction, or rebuke, you're going to fall into mischief. As a roaring lion and a raging bear, so is a wicked ruler over the poor people, because they bring forth their demise, right? What does a roaring lion and a raging bear do? They destroy. And that's what a wicked ruler is likened to over the poor, because he doesn't regard them, right? And under his wicked rule, the poor suffer. The prince that wanteth understanding is also a great oppressor, but he that hateth covetousness shall prolong his days. It says, a ruler with no understanding will oppress his people, but one who hates corruption will have a long life, because he oppresses his people through lack of understanding, not knowing how to rule properly, right? They think, oh, well, this is just me being in a position of power, so, I'm just going to feed myself, right? Take care of myself. And they bring their kingdom to ruin that way. A man that doeth violence to the blood of any person shall flee to the pit. Let no man stay him. It says, a murderous, tormented conscience will drive him into the grave. Don't protect him. And that's the punishment that the Lord, because somebody may commit murder, right? Somebody may do something wrong, and people may not find out. But guess what? The Lord has the conscience there that eats at you, and that's like an immediate judgment for that. Whoso walketh uprightly shall be saved, but he that is perverse in his ways shall fall at once. And ultimately, who are those that walk uprightly? Those that follow the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And they're going to be saved, right? They're going to be delivered. But he that is perverse, he that is wicked, is going to fall at once, right? They're going to suffer judgment. He that tilleth his land shall have plenty of bread, right? Tilling your land is you're serving, right? You're planting, right? You're creating the fall, you're breaking up the earth, right? You're preparing the land, you're harvesting, you're reaping. You're going to have plenty of bread because you're working. But he that followeth after vain persons shall have poverty enough. Because if you follow after vain persons and you don't put in the work needed, what's going to happen? You're going to suffer poverty because you didn't put in work. A faithful man shall abound with blessings, but he that maketh haste to be rich shall not be innocent. Because eventually you're going to fall off the path, right? You're going to try to use those get rich quick schemes. It says the trustworthy person, they call that what? Fast money. The trustworthy person will get a rich reward, but a person who wants quick riches will get into trouble. Today, that's how they end up, getting into like, selling drugs and doing those kinds of things, because that's a fast way to get money. But usually those fast ways to get money are not legit. They're not authentic. And they lead you into doing things that you shouldn't do, things that are not right. To have respect of persons is not good. For a piece of bread, that man will transgress. See? And the law tells you that you're not supposed to have respect of persons. If you judge righteously, not because of what a person has or what they can do for you. For a piece of bread, that man will transgress, right? Because you've given him that piece of bread is likened unto a gift that's going to cause this person to transgress or to judge incorrectly. Okay? He that hasteth to be rich hath an evil eye, and considereth not that poverty shall come upon him. It says greedy people try to get rich quick, but don't realize they're headed for poverty. And that's going to be by being led by that greed. He that rebuketh a man afterwards shall find more favor than he that flattereth with the tongue. Because when you rebuke a man, you correct them, and they become better for it, right? Versus flattering one with the tongue, especially if they're doing something wrong and you're not calling it out. And then eventually they wrong you. See, they wrong somebody, right? But you don't want to tell them about themselves. And everything is all fun and games until now that turns to you, and you're on the receiving end of that wicked bad habit of theirs that you didn't correct. Whoso robbeth his father or his mother and saith it is no transgression, the same is a companion of a destroyer. Yeah. How do you rob your parents and treat it like it's a light thing? It's not a big deal, right? You're a companion. You're in the same league as a destroyer. Anyone who steals from his father and mother and says, "What's wrong with that?" is no better than a murderer. He that is of a proud heart stirreth up strife, but he that putteth his trust in the Lord shall be made fat, meaning they're going to have an abundance. NLT, greed causes fighting, trusting the Lord leads to prosperity. He that trusteth in his own heart is a fool, but whoso walketh wisely, he shall be delivered. When you trust in your own heart, you're a fool, because it tells you in Jeremiah 17, the heart is desperately wicked. So there are things that the heart tries to tell you, the mind, the flesh tries to tell you that it's good, it's beneficial, but it's not. So you're a fool to trust in it rather than to trust on the Lord. But those that walk wisely, when you walk wisely, you walk with wisdom. What is wisdom? The fear of the Lord, right? He shall be delivered. He that giveth unto the poor shall not lack, meaning that if you give unto the poor and you're generous, the Lord will pay you back. He'll make sure that you are rewarded or recompensed for it. But he that hideth his eyes shall have many a curse. See, because you had the means to help, but you turned aside. And so the Lord, when you are in need of help, he'll turn aside. When the wicked rise, men hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase. Yeah. And why do men hide themselves? Because when the wicked rise, what are they out for? Mischief. But when the wicked perish, the righteous increase, because there's none to hinder the growth of the righteous. Right? The wicked come against the righteous, right? If you look at, for example, a wicked society, what do? Right? Even go back to Israel's history. What did Jeroboam do when he caused the northern kingdom to go off? He kicked out the Levites, right, and sent them all down to the southern kingdom and raised up base men to be priests. But when you had kings like Josiah and certain kings that did a reform, what happened? You had righteousness, right, starting to flourish, right? More and more people started to turn to righteousness, and that increased because there was no wickedness to hinder that. And that brings us to the end of the book of Proverbs, the 28th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.